Hi there, my name is Ron Rogers, and this presentation is the sad tale of the Happy Bottom Riding Club that was owned by Pancho Barnes. Now, Pancho Barnes was quite a character, and if you were going to be a woman pilot back in the 30s, you had to have a strong personality, being such a male-dominated field up through the 50s and beyond. And this is a book, the lady who wrote this book, the biography of Pancho Barnes, actually came out to one of our symposiums at the Society of Experimental Test Pilots, and she was autographing the book, so I bought one. It was quite interesting. When I was out at Edwards. There's a local airfield down south of there called Fox Field, Southwest. And I was down there. I was getting my ATP rating because I was getting out of the Air Force, going to the airlines. And one of the guys there told me that he was one of Pancho Barnes' husbands. Well, he said he was Pancho Barnes' husband. And they said, well, I was one of them. And he said they actually had one of her airplanes still back in one of the hangars. But she was quite an interesting character. And if you get a chance to read the biography, I don't get any money for this, but if you get a chance to read it, it's quite interesting. And I've got a number of the early female aviators biographies. They're just quite interesting because these people had to really be strong characters and were very interesting individuals, and they stood out. Now, if you've seen The Right Stuff, you know what goes on. This was Pancho Barnes. It was the social gathering place for the test pilots out at Edwards. It's off the end of the runway out there, or was, and the remains still are. But she ran the bar there, and it was a gathering place. And of course, I think that's a picture of Chuck Yeager there, and a lot of memorabilia on the walls, of course. And unfortunately, in the fire, a lot of history there was lost. And of course, that's Pancho also in the picture there. And of course, as we all know as pilots, you get a picture of an airplane and the women and I guess a dog there actually that come around and all join in. And of course, there's Pancho in the center of the picture there. Now, unfortunately, it burnt down. And again, the movie The Right Stuff, you saw that, it burnt down. And this is a fairly recent picture of the remains out there, and that's the main area of the bar that's standing there. And in the foreground is the swimming pool. It looks like they cleared it out. At the time I was out there, that was absolutely full of junk. And they've got a fence around it now to keep people out. Of course, this was back in the olden days of flight testing when the Happy Bottom Riding Club existed out there. And this is the old Air Force sign that was there when I was there in the late 70s. Of course, it's been replaced by a much more modern sign. And I'm stationed on Edwards, and I hear about, the Happy Bottom Riding Club and decide to go out there and take a look. At the time, they didn't have a fence there, and you could go right up to it. And here's the main area. Those are my the two oldest children. My son on the left, Mark, there, and my daughter Lori. Mark is now 50, and he's a 777 pilot. Following my footsteps, I taught him to fly. And of course, there's the main fireplace in the building, and there was a lot of debris around. And I collected this fantastic artifact, and I'm sure you all know this is probably some rare spark plug off of some historic aircraft that flew out there, or it probably came off a lawn tractor. I don't know which one. But there was a fountain out there. That's my wife there also in our van at the time. And there was a fountain on the property. It was fairly nicely laid out. And there's another picture of the fountain area. Now, the interesting thing about things out in the desert is there's a lot of space. People aren't trying to reuse the land right away. So things that occur out there stay out there for a very long time. Edwards actually had a test track, high-speed test track, rocket-powered, where they would could test escape systems on aircraft. Holloman has the other one, and this one existed for a while. It was actually cut in half by a north-south road that came through there eventually, but it had been decommissioned by that time. There's a story that they were using some chimps to test the system, and they were just testing it for runs, and they gave a chimp a banana at the start of one of the runs, and they fired the rocket, and they met the chimp at the end of it down there, and they handed him another banana, and supposedly the chimp took the banana and smashed it in the face of the engineer who was handing it. Anyway, that is the situation with the Pancho Barnes Riding Club and what remains of it to this day. So thanks for watching, and that's a little bit of history out there at Edwards. Hope you enjoyed it.